All right, so let's try one more problem right here. In this one, what we're going to do is we're going to verify an identity. That means, recall that if we're going to verify an identity, we do it by manipulating one side of the equation or the other so that the two sides are equal. And to me, I'm looking at the left-hand side, which, well, that's one of our formulas again, right? We've got a cosine of u minus v situation going on over there. Whereas on the right-hand side, there is no sum or difference of angles. So it's easier to take something that has a combination by sum or difference of angles and split it apart and try and get what happens over here on the right. So let's check that out. What could we say? Well, the cosine of u minus v is the cosine of u times the cosine of v plus the sine of u times the sine of v. So here's u, here's v. So on the left-hand side, we actually have the cosine of the angle 5 pi over 4 times the cosine of the angle x. And we're going to add, right, because we changed the sign for cosine, the SIGN for cosine. There we go. We've got the sine of 5 pi over 4 times the sine of x. And again, we're trying to verify that this will be equal to the negative of the square root of 2 over 2 times our sum of cosine of x and sine of x. Let's make that look a better cosine. Okay, cosine of 5 pi over 4, what is that? Well, all right, 5 pi over 4, what do we know? 5 pi over 4 is the kind of angle that falls in the third quadrant, right? 5 pi over 4 is over here. Of course, the reason why is that that's pi over 4 larger than pi. And so our reference angle right here is pi over 4. Well, we know the sine and cosine of pi over 4 are both radical 2, and we're in the third quadrant, so in quadrant 3, we know that both sine and cosine are negative. That says sine and cosine are negative. It doesn't quite look like it, but trust me, it is. That's what it says. Sine and cosine are negative. Therefore, what do we got? Cosine of 5 pi over 4 is the same as the negative of the cosine of pi over 4. That's negative root 2 over 2 times the cosine of x. And what else do we know? Well, sine of 5 pi over 4, sine is negative in the third quadrant, so we've got negative root 2 over 2 again, times the sine of x, and again, just showing that that's equal to the negative of the root 2 over 2 times cosine of x plus the sine of x. And, well, there it is, right? We do a simple factorization on the left-hand side. We've got negative square root of 2 over 2 times cosine of x from here plus sine of x on the left-hand side. And that's exactly what we set out to prove. And so we are done with this one. Nice. Okay, good luck with your homework too.